This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
What up, what up, what up? How you
What's
feeling?
good, O?
Not much, man. I got to tell you, I was talking about it before you came on. I would, every AP writer that voted for Joe Flacco or DeMar Hamlin, I would strip their freaking vote.
Comeback player of the year, huh?
Yeah, I thought what they did to Baker Mayfield was a crime. That guy played the whole season, 27 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 64% completion percentage. His team won the division, got to the playoffs. He is the definition of comeback player of the year. You know, DeMar Hamlin deserves a courage award. It takes courage to come back to play a game that you practically died on. But he was never a player in the first place. He was never a starter. There was nothing to come back from him. He was just coming back from the dead. That's different. That's courage. And Joe Flacco played 5 regular season games. I'm sorry, dude. I found that to be the most disturbing thing of the whole night, to be quite honest.
So it's interesting. I have a different take here, and I think it's probably because it's personal to me. I think DeMar Hamlin should have won the award, and I think it was easy. I look at it this way, but first I'll say this. I think Baker probably deserved it more than Joe Flacco. I'm with you there. Baker did it for a full season. Joe Flacco came back from the couch, right? Like, he had a great season, but he came back from the couch. Baker Mayfield came back from, playing poorly.
Oblivion.
And dealing with, multiple kind of bad situations as far as franchise. He came back and became
We all gave up on him. We all gave up on Baker Mayfield. Let's be honest. We all said it was toast. That's it.
And so here's what I think. I talked about this a little bit on Good Morning Football. I think DeMar should have won the award. But I think the issue at hand, and we can't really prepare for a situation like DeMar, but I think it should be probably 2 different awards. I think there should be one.
Oh, you're breaking up. You're breaking up.
Did I lose you?
Yeah, you're frozen now.
You got me?
Now you're unfrozen. All right, go ahead.
You got me now?
Awards?
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I'm just driving. I think that there should be 2 awards. I think it should be a most improved award, which to me, Baker was the right choice for the most improved award. He made the most improvement year over year than any of these guys. Comeback to me is through adversity, whether it's a significant injury or in DeMar's case, death. And so that's what I think the issue is, the framing of the question, that we lump those 2 together. The improvement.
Disagree with you. It should be a courage award. I think you're using the wrong adjective, okay? Because when you say comeback player, you have to be a player in the first place.
He played last year.
We have to be honest. We have to be honest. DeMar Hamlin has never been a player.
So I disagree. I will say this.
He was a scrubberini hanging on to the back end of a roster spot. He's not a player.
I will say this. He was like,
is impactful and then loses his job and comes back. Here's where I would call it a courage award. What's it called? The quarterback from that blew out his leg in Washington that played for Kansas City. Alex Smith.
He won the comeback player of the year as well.
Exactly.
And he came back.
Yeah, but he played a whole season. Whereas DeMar Hamlin,
he didn't play it well. You're talking about his on the field play. He didn't play well.
I know he didn't play well.
But he played.
And
the thing is, the courage. You saying courage? Yeah. I think so. This is different terminology, but to me, I gotta see you come back from adversity. Like, I get Baker being lumped in there, but to me, Baker came back from him playing poorly. Like, it was his own play. He didn't come back from any trauma. He just was bad in the systems they had him, and then he became good in a different system. To me, that's not coming back from anything. That's being the most improved. That's not. He didn't come back from anything. He just improved. To me, coming back from something requires adversity, trauma. Something happened to you, and you overcame that, and still was able to come back to this game. And so I get the DeMar argument.
But you came back to actually play. You came back to actually be a player.
That's what I was saying. I get the DeMar argument that he didn't.
Never a player, and he wasn't a player again either. He's never been a player. That's the problem. I get that we get this emotional tie with DeMar, and he almost died in the heart, and we have to have some sympathy and all that. But we are allowing our sympathy to cloud our judgment. The guy was never a player, ever.
I completely disagree. So here's what I would say. DeMar Hamlin started, I think, 9 or 10 games last year due to injuries, and so he played a lot of defense last year. The fact that he's never been a player, that's just inaccurate. He played a lot of defense due to injuries last year.
Was he any good?
This year,
was he really?
He's been there. I don't think that he was bad. He was fine. He was a backup playing in a starter role, like most backups play in starter roles.
That's why, to me, you and I differ, because to you, comeback doesn't mean that the player was ever any good, and to me, that's what it is.
See, I think
you were either great.
I think it's an adversity award.
Listen. You were either great and you Kurt Warnered the shit, and you got lost in the Giants, and then you found your way in Arizona. That's comeback player. Or you blew out a knee, and then you rehabbed, and then you came back and had an amazing season. That's comeback. You came back to be a player again, one way or another, injury or adversity or whatever it is, or maybe you ended up in the wrong situation, that it was a terrible offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator that didn't set you up for success, and then you go somewhere else where the change of scenery, all of a sudden, Geno Smith, and you're, a comeback player of the year.
Right.
To me, that's what I like for comeback. Yeah. You actually came back and you played,
I get you. To me, we just disagree on this. I think what your discussion is most improved is on a field thing. To me, this is an adversity award. And so what we just disagree on the core fundamentals of the award, which goes back to my point that I feel like it should be separated and should be two different. So whether it's what you say and it becomes a courage award and comeback stays with the on-field element, or it's what I say that comeback becomes the biggest adversity that you come back from to return to the field, which is meaning to me, and you add a most improved for the people you're talking about who've overcome bad OCs or just being bad. Like Baker was bad. He was a first-round overall pick. Like this isn't a boost, or he was the first overall pick in the draft. He kind of flamed out, and now he rekindled. And so that's improvement. I don't know if that's necessarily came back from any trauma or adversity. And so that's, we're talking a little different in the meanings.
Cam, there is comeback to it because it's hard to get knocked down in public. And then that plays with you mentally also. And it plays with your confidence. And you've got to fight. And you've got to believe in yourself that you're going to fight through all the adversity, and all the people like Orlando Alzugaray saying, oh, yeah, Baker Mayfield's toast. He'll never do anything again. And there you go. Right. You go to Tampa, and you tell Orlando Alzugaray, see, you're an idiot. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. I am a player. So to me, there's a lot to coming back for Baker Mayfield, because he had to hear it from everybody that he wasn't good enough, that he was never going to be a starter again. That F's with you mentally, dude.
I hear you. Yeah. And like I said, I would have voted Baker second for the award. I think Tua was also a worthy candidate, although Tua probably didn't get it because he was good last year. Even though the concussions were a big deal and a big part of the narrative, people forget Tua was very good last year. And so to me, that's why I feel like he doesn't get the award. He came back from concussions, but he it was not a career-threatening thing in my opinion.
Yeah,
right.
I would.
Here's the last thing I will say on DeMar, and obviously we disagree, and I think there's probably more people who agree with you than agree with me, which is fine. We're in this place to agree to disagree. I was there in the ground for 8 days in Cincinnati where he died, and seeing the looks on people's faces, seeing the impact of people outside of football. You could say what he wanted about what he was as a player. He was a backup who played starter reps. He's come back and been a special teams player this year primarily. But I talked to him. He's still having triggers from that heart attack on the field, and so that's going to affect your ability to come back to play. but it's still important to him to come back. He could have easily just said, you know what, my career is good. I can go on a speaking tour the rest of my life. I don't need to come back to football. I can go use this and speak to kids. It was important for him to come back, have the courage, have the fortitude to say, I'm going to try to play this thing, even through the difficulty, even through the mental gaps. And to me, that shows a lot. And to me, that's the quintessential nature of comeback.
Yeah, you and I just have a different definition of what comeback is. And I know exactly what Damar Hamlin is going through because I have 5 stents in my heart, and I felt my chest and my heart like it was close to exploding. And ever since I've had the stents in my heart, brother, any little like pain, air, discomfort in my chest, it's a paranoia. It's already in my mind. So I could imagine that his is even worse because he literally died. I was kind of like on the brink of a heart attack, but they kind of, attack almost, that kind of shit. So I definitely can deal with Devin Hester, Andre Johnson, very happy.
Awesome.
I almost felt like, Reggie Wayne I thought Reggie would get in ahead of Andre, even though I'll tell you, Andre is the superior receiver. Andre Johnson, to me, is one of the greatest receivers I have ever seen in my life. He was just stuck in Houston with no quarterback. But I thought because of Wayne's success, title, all of that, he might have gotten in. And then I'm also thinking the committee said, man, we're already getting 2 hurricanes. We can't go 3. I kind of felt bad for Reggie Wayne yesterday because he clearly deserves to get in. You know what I mean? And he will get in.
Yeah.
Almost felt like they said, enough's enough. We're not gonna put 3 canes in there.
And I don't know if it was necessarily about the Canes as much as the wide receivers. Like through the history, at least for me, the Hall of Fame, they're very reluctant to put in multiple players from the same position in the same class. And so wide receivers, because there's a lot of them, end up in a backlog. Like you mentioned Reggie Wayne, who's definitely a worthy Hall of Famer. Torrey Holt as well. Torrey Holt's been waiting for a handful of years. Steve Smith, a colleague of mine who's a great as well, he's been waiting for a handful of years as well. And so these are guys who have to wait because of that desire to spread it around to the other positions. I think that Reggie Wayne, Torrey Holt, Steve Smith will all get in the coming years. But I do think it's a great time to celebrate Andre Johnson. My favorite Andre Johnson memory is him beating the crap out of Cortland Finnegan. But the rest of his career was absolutely amazing. And he's the first Texans player to go in. Like there's a certain nostalgia of being the first from a franchise to go in. And it was a great day for the Texans overall. C.J. Stroud, Will Anderson, and Andre Johnson.
Yeah, I'm so glad for Andre Johnson. My wife, he was a student in one of my wife's classes back in Miami High, because that's where she graduated from, and she taught there for the first 12 or 13 years of her career. She taught at her alma mater for a while, and Andre was one of her students, and he was always a great kid too. On top of all of that, that's the other thing. Andre Johnson is as classy as it gets, dude. Like he is elite level classy. You know what I'm saying? And he is a pro's pro. And I'm telling you, very few receivers have had more talent than Andre Johnson. I wish he would have ended up with a real quarterback for a couple of seasons. And I think people would have seen some incredible numbers from Andre Johnson. I really believe that.
I'm with you. I think he's one of the best receivers to ever play this game. He was a true number one. He could beat you with speed, he could beat you with power. And they knew every single game that Andre Johnson was the guy to stop. He was the guy on that offense, and he still destroyed you. I have so much respect for those receivers.
Where are you at? Because I've been saying for a couple of months, Christian Wilkins is gone. Where are you at right now?
I think they're
going to sign him, tag him, and I keep telling everybody he gone. So what do you think?
If I had to make a prediction as of today, I'd have guessed that they let Christian Wilkins test free agency. The tag is obviously there as a tool if they want to use it, but they have a lot of tight cap situations, and that's going to be a tough choice. But my prediction is they let him test free agency. I just don't know if they close the gap on any deal, and a $20 million cap hold due to the franchise tag is very cumbersome for a team that's already got to cut a lot of space and still improve. And so, yeah, I think if I had to predict as of February 9th, I predict Christian Wilkins is in another uniform next year.
Yes. Yeah, I guarantee you he will be in another uniform. And there will be no tags this year, because I heard that too many times from people, and I think they don't really understand the cap situation. They have a ton of flexibility, but they're going to have sacrifices along the way with it, and one of them will be Christian Wilkins. It's just the way and get used to it now, because now that you can draft and you're going to hit on some, you're going to have to make the tough decision of letting go some. And so now we'll see if in the first or second round they replace Christian Wilkins. That's probably what.
Yeah, you've heard me say this before. I think that this offseason, you'll see a Dolphins team that comes back that looks less talented initially, because they're going to have to trust a lot more young players to fill these spots of these trusted vets. Your Christian Wilkins, your Xavier Howards, your Jerome Bakers are all guys all in question as far as next year, as well as the guys who will be on the roster but coming back from serious injuries like Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb. Those are 5 starters and key contributors on defense that there's a lot of uncertainty about heading into next year, and they're not going to be able to replace them all in free agency or the draft.
I'm with you there. All right, we'll wrap it up with this prediction. Who wins on Sunday?
Let's go with the Chiefs. I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes. I actually think it'll be a lower scoring game than people think. I think a lot of times we get excited about the offenses and the quarterbacks. I think we'll see something in the 20s, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's closer to 24-20. So give me 24-20 Chiefs. And I think there's a big game coming up for Isaiah Pacheco. I don't think he's being talked about a lot. I think Isaiah Pacheco is going to have a huge day.
Well, they will feed his ass. And that's one of the things I love about it. Even if he's only getting 2 or 3 yards a carry, they will still feed him to keep the defense honest, which is something I would love Mike McDaniel to learn about.
American?
Yeah. They will keep doing it. Yes, American Airlines. Go ahead. I appreciate you, my brother. Safe travels. We'll catch up next week, my friend. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate you.
You got it. There you go. Cameron Wolfe and our KSDT CPA Miami Dolphins report. And remember, KSDT CPA has offices in Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties. And they also opened up an office in Charlotte, North Carolina. They can help you with tax, advisory, assurance, accounting. They do it all, folks, so they can help you. And for business taxes, you need that guidance all year long. So call the great people at KSDT CPAs, 305-670-3370. Use that QR code for KSDT CPAs.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.